Low key, oh my god, that's a nice ass day. That was crazy. Okay, I'm not a kid anymore though. I don't think I can make the jump. I just want to premise this video by saying my name is Xavier Canmu, aka Xavier Baby. This is my third YouTube rebrand, and I'm a multi-potentialite graphic artist, and this is pretty much my fifth life audit at this point. This is a safe space, non-ableist, non-overly gym bro, and we'll touch on that. But it's a hyper-cognitive space where we can, not completely rooted in spirituality or politics or anything for that matter. This is really just an exploration of my person, my spirit, my art, and business as I navigate my way through this digital space and achieve everything that my inner child has ever, could handle. The starving artist, a term not necessarily coined by, but popularized by Henry Mugger's 1851 novel, The Scenes de la Vie de Bohème, driving in on ideals that struggle breeds good art, wherein of itself, I feel like, yes, it is important for us to touch on two sides of the planet, the evil, the good. Sometimes having a bad experience can turn into a good thing, but we live in such a culture and a world where we are almost like we don't crave art from a healthy person. And it's insane that we want all of our artists, of any kind, whether you're doing, painting, art, like music, content creation, whatever you want to consider art, you feel me? Everybody does not consider your struggle unless you struggled really through it. Even culturally speaking, the connotation of getting something too easily, breeds disdain and resentment, for the speed at which you required these things, regardless of the time it took to be able to do such thing in an allocated amount of time. So take a photographer who has shot so many faces and has done so many shoots, like who's able to do a shoot in like 10 to 15 minutes, like he's done his previs and he figured everything out. He already creative directed and he already scouted, his makeup artist and, like all of his grips and lighting and everything is sourced so that 1 10-minute block of time that he has, he gets to shooting like he's Kobe. So it took years to be able to dial his settings in, his ISO, whatever it took to be able to get that far and to be able to operate at that speed, But culturally speaking, nobody understands and appreciates it when you do something with finesse and you know what you're doing. So it begs the question, what are we really impressed by? Is it the time, the schooling, and the discipline of the arts that allows us, that to price ourselves higher? Or is it the perils of the humanity being upheld by a single paintbrush, a single mixtape, a single collection that couldn't pay the phone bill in its lowest of recessions, So I'm not saying anything new. We live in a hyper-capitalistic world where self-image is an afterthought. So it's no real surprise that we prefer an artist who struggled. And this video isn't necessarily to say that all things should come easily, but at the same time, our obsession for our almost favorite types of people, like my favorite artists or whatever, to be able to starve should be in question. Because you've heard it before, oh man, I'm trying to gatekeep them, or oh nah, like, oh, they started posting fashion content, like, they about to spill the secrets. But then when you think about it, it's like, don't you want that person? You found them organically. Don't you want other people to be able to feel and hear the message that you have also been bestowed upon, So as a means to sell out and, sell your stuff online and do all these things, I feel like artists end up starving because they get stuck feeling like they're selling out or doing business for no reason. So that goes for health, music, fashion, and when people see others do great things, obviously envy ensues. So I was heavy set my whole life. I was a pretty big dude. I have man boobs still to this point. It is hard to get rid of. So, and even it almost seemed like it was everybody's mission to like undo the work that I had done for myself, And it's interesting that when you want to change yourself, you see others reflect in a different kind of way. So when I lost all the weight, people were like, bro, we gotta go to, Wingstop, get the 56 super combo, because I know you can handle it now, all this stuff. Or like, oh, you think you so fresh, whatever, doing your gym stuff every freaking day, like people will get into your mind because they want to see themselves doing these things, Part two. the jacked artists, the Johnny Bravos, the Larry Wheels of artists. I like to think in ideas as a means to safely dream and hypothesize. What kind of renaissance would we be having if the artists we had today weren't half dead, cigarette wielding zombies praying that their 1099 is filled with personal projects and gigs instead of door dashing? And then that's not to trash on DoorDashers. I'm part of the top 5% of Los Angeles DoorDashers to this day. So as an athlete in a camp of Nike or Under Armour or one of those little pro things, they'll have their players fed, stretched, sleeping, learning, and back to the grind just to build it all back up again. So I've come to realize on my journey of trying to start this creative label that we make, that just because I have a camera and my story alone is just one layer of the pie. And it's the people that you meet along the way that are going to pull your productions together, that are really going to pull your business, pull you out of the trenches, because it takes a village. It always takes a village. It's been my mission as an artist, not only to work on myself as a mirror, but to work on my craft, my art, my body, my spirit, because as an athlete tapped out is not going to be able to perform and do the same things on the same day when he's asked of it, without that care. So, for me, step one, get fit, especially my guys out there. It may be the gym, it may not be the gym, it may be calisthenics, it may be Pilates, whatever it is, daily walks, but you need to get up off your ass. Your body has a direct influence on your mind, and it is like 1 to 2, literally. If you get up and you do a walk, you immediately are getting sun and you're feeling life a little bit more than you would be if you're just scrolling all day on your phone. So step one, you need to get fit. Step three, you need to answer to your spirit. I won't get too woo-woo about this, you feel me, but the biggest moguls out there, be it Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, RIP, you feel me? They're all big manifestors, you feel me? Like, everything that they put out into the world, they've studied their minds, they document, they annotate, and they speak their mind on their goals and their shortcomings and their habits, good or bad, you feel me? You gotta find your avatar state by any means necessary. Because that can be shadow work, you feel me? That can be, just doing things that make you uncomfortable, YouTube, putting yourself out there, let me wait for this train. But you need a general curiosity about yourself. I have this thing, you feel me? Like, when people are looking at you, most people are like, oh my God, why are they looking at me? Like, do they have a problem or whatever. Most of the time, it's because they're interested in you in some way. So that means to me that usually most people are afraid to say their first thought or their first interaction of whatever they saw. You feel me? Like, they're usually 10 steps ahead of their mind and they're like, I'm gonna shut it down, I'm not gonna say anything about it. But if you have that innate curiosity to be like, oh, your shoes are super sick, bro, or I should start that, but like, you think it's crazy, but just being able to tell other people that you like and admire or do whatever, that leads you to business, because that also means that when you're speaking about yourself, you're not necessarily worried about what other people are saying. You're like, I'm completely interested in doing content and being a hermit and understanding niches and tropes and just online creativity and like, if your interest is content and you want to explore yourself online and do things the way these influencers are doing things and starting businesses that you actually appreciate and people need, there's a need, I forgot what book it was, but like, an artist or somebody that is not creating is in direct, not blasphemy, but they're in direct conflict with their higher self, because obviously we were born to create, we're not born to consume so much. So when you're sitting there just full on social media and all these things, and then you have that one thought about yourself and you're like, wouldn't it be cool if I did that, or if I could, you're gonna shut it down immediately. So I think it's very important for people to be able to feed their spirit, their curiosity, and that empty hole within themselves that beckons to call towards things. I'm always always in like creation mode. I'm always thinking about content and making videos and stuff because that's just how my mind operates. I see things in videos. So I mean, at least for me and for anybody, you have to be completely obsessed with what you're doing. So it's imperative that you need to study yourself. Let's see, my big notes, my big notes for real skis. To keep things brief, I've taken these steps to completely just 180 my life, and I did that through content creation, iterating on different businesses, and failing time and time again. And it's been grueling, it's been cathartic, but I feel like I'm answering to something bigger than myself, and I'm starting this creative label without any assumptions or without any kind of ideas about myself, because I know that this is something I've always wanted to do. So I'm surely on the brink of something, some kind of renaissance, and I'm gonna wait for this train again. I gotta wait for the train again. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm on the damn near brink of something. So I'm like, it feels like a personal renaissance. And I'd be damned if I stop myself because of some limited belief, or, not answering to somebody's questions or their moral obligation to me or whatever it is. So when you're thinking about your goals and doing stuff for you, you can't be worried about, oh, my mom said this, my da 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 said this, like, if those are your thoughts, those are your thoughts. So my big takeaways for real, is like, especially as I'm getting on this kind of business journey, I'm taking you guys along with me, is you gotta journal, you gotta document, you gotta understand, you gotta study yourself, you feel me? Because you are your biggest enemy. It's a crazy thing. I feel like I'm gonna make a video about it, but time is really just a concept, man. I didn't have shit to do today but better myself. And I told myself, no fucking phone, no Instagram, no da 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 da. I might have scrolled for like 30 minutes a day just so I could like post my own stuff. But essentially all of today, all I had to do was focus on the things that made me better and the things that I wanted to do. And it's only 4 o'clock. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I got so much shit done because I got myself out of the way, and I got all these other dopamine fixes out of the way. So it's imperative that you document. It's imperative that you detox and get rid of all the thoughts of other people. You need to take your own advice for at least 30 days straight. Just nobody's advice, only your shit. You feel me? You need to exercise your body, and you need to challenge yourself in some kind of way, whether that be walking, fitness, get yourself a standing table, like whatever it takes to get you off your ass. You feel me? I will always suggest the gym if it is not if you're not able to do the gym, you feel me, for obvious health reasons or physical capabilities. Do something that is within your capability, because your mind is rotting sitting down. No worries, no words about that. So, and you need to escape the consumption mindset. Obviously, we are in a very capitalist culture, and like they want us fed like pigs, to be able to eat and consume all these things. There's so much information. Just the fact that there's literally playbooks out here that are like, start a business, make $1 million. And there's so much information out here that could get you to the point where you would like to be, but it's so much information. So you need to dial down on the noise, and you need to escape that consumption mindset so that you can actually get through a day without freaking out. So I just think that everybody needs to abandon the starving artist trope. It is not something that I think we need to take into 2026 or whatever the fact, because it only feeds the higher ups, the businesses, all that other stuff. So I think if you ever had an idea and you wanted to start content, you wanted to start a creative business, you're making music, all these other things, I mean, just the digital world is changing in 1,000 different ways. And I mean, the influencer market, no matter how you feel about it, is changing, and it's the new Hollywood. So why not use their system the way that they don't intend, build yourself your own cohort of sorts, a community that you can look back on, trust, and be able to talk about the things that you actually want to talk about, because, ain't nobody talking about shit these days. So, you feel me? Like, you need to get up out there. I'm gonna go edit this fucking video. This is a new format. Let me know how we feel about it. But, yeah, man, get up off your ass, stop starving. We need to be some jacked artists out here. I really think that we would have 10 Renaissance in a row if we had a bunch of healthy artists out here. I mean, why is it so? It's like almost a need for us to have to go through the starving art. I'm not saying that niggas don't have to struggle no more, but I really think that starving mindset, that survivalist mindset, has kept us back for so long. I really think we'd be in a renaissance if everybody was healthy, man. I mean, come on, it's crazy, man. But X-Man out.